Hello, and welcome to the English Channel, a simple space for curious minds and growing English skills.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm Liam.
And I'm Lisa. It's great to be here.
So today we're really getting into the nuts and bolts of everyday English.
That's right, Liam. We're looking at, the kind of language people actually use when they're talking about their day-to-day lives or maybe recounting a vacation.
Yeah, things like your daily routine, stuff you do every morning, every evening, and then the more fun stuff, like talking about trips you've taken.
Exactly. And it's really important, isn't it? Because understanding these common phrases and bits of vocabulary, it helps you move past just knowing words.
And into actually using the language naturally, like how native speakers chat.
Precisely. It makes conversations flow better, whether you're, just making small talk about your morning coffee or telling a story about a holiday.
So our mission today, our deep dive, is basically to pull out the most useful, practical stuff from the material we've looked at.
Yep. We want to give you, the listeners, some really concrete tools, phrases, phrasal verbs, maybe an idiom or two that you can hopefully start using right away. Things to help describe your own life and understand others better.
Absolutely. It's all about making English feel a bit more intuitive, less like you're translating in your head. So get ready to pick up some great expressions.
Let's dive in.
Okay, so where better to start than the absolute beginning of the day,
Yeah.
the morning? What was one of the first key phrases for that early part of the day?
Right. Well, the phrase first thing came up. It sounds simple, almost too simple maybe, but it's incredibly common in everyday speech.
First thing. Okay, yeah, I hear that a lot. But how exactly is it used? Like, where does it fit in a sentence?
Good question. You can use it to emphasize the very initial action of a period, usually the morning. So you might put it at the start. First thing in the morning, I check my phone.
Okay, so setting the scene.
Yeah. Or you can stick it at the end of the phrase, like I need to make coffee, first thing. It just signals that immediate priority, the very first action.
And there was a little warning, wasn't there, about the small words around it. It's specifically first thing.
Yes, exactly. Not first of things, or the first thing I do is, although that's grammatically okay, the idiomatic phrase is just first thing. Getting those little prepositions and articles right, or knowing when not to use them, that's key for sounding natural.
Those tiny details make a big difference, don't they?
They really do. It's often the small function words that trip learners up, but mastering them makes your English sound much smoother.
Okay, so after first thing, how about how you feel when you wake up? There were a couple of fun expressions for that.
Ah, yes. The classic difference between being a morning person.
Someone I aspire to be.
Me too sometimes. Yeah, a morning person is, someone who wakes up easily, feels cheerful, energetic, ready to tackle the day. They might literally jump out of bed.
And the opposite.
The opposite is waking up on the wrong side of the bed.
That sounds unpleasant. Does it mean you literally rolled out the wrong way?
No, it's purely metaphorical. It just means you woke up feeling grumpy, irritable, maybe a bit out of sorts for no specific reason. Your mood is just off.
So if someone's snapping at you before breakfast, you could say they woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Exactly. Or you might even say it about yourself, kind of apologetically, like, oh, sorry, I'm a bit grumpy. I think I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. Everyone understands that feeling.
Got it. Okay, so you're up, hopefully on the right side of the bed.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to take someone somewhere like kids to school or drop something off. The phrase drop off came up.
Yes, drop off. This is a really fundamental phrasal verb,
Right.
super useful. You use it for delivering people or things.
So examples.
Well, you could drop off your kids at school or drop your son off at preschool. That's delivering a person.
Okay.
Or you could drop off a package at the post office or drop off your dry cleaning or drop off your computer at the repair shop, delivering an object.
Right. And this is where we hit a really critical point, wasn't it? The danger of leaving out that little word off.
Oh, absolutely crucial. This brings up a fantastic question for clarity. What is the actual difference in meaning if you say, I dropped my computer at the repair shop versus I dropped off my computer at the repair shop?
And the difference is pretty dramatic.
It really is. If you say you just dropped your computer, it sounds like an accident. Like, whoops, it slipped out of your hands and fell onto the floor, maybe broke.
Oh, no. Yeah, that sounds bad.
Whereas if you say you dropped off your computer, it clearly means you delivered it there intentionally, left it for repair. That one little word, off, changes the meaning from accidental damage to a planned delivery.
Wow. So getting phrasal verbs right isn't just about sounding fluent. It's about, well, basic comprehension and not causing panic.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Especially with verbs like drop, where the base verb has such a strong physical meaning. Adding the particle off completely shifts it. Very important distinction.
Okay, moving on through the day. Maybe you get to work, or maybe you're working from home, and you realize you're behind on things. The phrase catch up or catch up on was mentioned.
Yes, another super versatile phrasal verb. One really common meaning is catch up on something, usually work, tasks, or information that you've fallen behind on.
So like you've been away, or just busy, and things have piled up.
Exactly. You might have a backlog of emails, so you say, I need to spend the morning catching up on emails. Or maybe the housework has been neglected. I really need to catch up on the laundry or catch up on chores this weekend.
It implies you were behind. Now you're trying to get current to deal with the backlog.
That's the core idea, getting back to where you should be with tasks or information.
Okay, but then there's another use. Just catch up. Often catch up with someone. That's different, isn't it?
It is, yes. A very common social use. If you catch up with a friend or just suggest let's catch up, it means you want to talk and find out what's been happening in each other's lives since you last spoke.
So it's about sharing news and updates.
Exactly. Getting current on their life story, basically. You know, finding out about their job, their family, what they've been doing. You might bump into an old friend and say, wow, it's been ages. We should grab coffee and catch up properly.
That's a really nice, friendly expression. So catch up on for tasks, catch up with for people's news.
Generally, yes. That's a good way to think about it.
All right. What about reviewing something? Maybe at work, you need someone to look over something you've written. The phrase go over was mentioned.
Ah, yes, go over. Very common in professional settings, but also just generally. It basically means to review, examine, or check something carefully.
So instead of just saying, can you review this email, you might say,
could you go over this email before I send it? Or, let's go over the presentation slides one more time. It often sounds a little softer, maybe more collaborative than just review.
Yeah, it feels like you're asking them to look with you, almost. And it implies checking for errors or improvements.
Exactly. It's polite and shows you value their input. You might ask a manager, can we go over my performance review? Meaning you want to discuss it in detail.
It's interesting how these simple verbs like go get repurposed, isn't it? Go over isn't about physically climbing over something here.
Not at all. It's purely about mental examination. That's the magic of phrasal verbs, combining simple words to create very specific and nuanced meanings.
Okay, so the workday is done, thankfully. You're thinking about leaving. The phrase head somewhere came up.
To head somewhere. Yep, very common. It just means to go in a particular direction or towards a particular place. It indicates your intended destination.
So you could say, okay, I'm heading home now.
Perfect. Or, I think I'll head to the gym after work. Or asking someone, where are you heading?
And there was a note about the store, right?
Okay.
Often meaning one specific type of store.
Yes, particularly in American English, if someone says they're headed to the store, they usually mean the grocery store or supermarket. It's a common default meaning.
Good tip. And what about when you're actually leaving a place, like leaving your house to go out?
Then you'd often use head out. It specifically means to depart from your current location.
So like gathering the family by the door, you might say.
Okay, everyone, time to head out.
Yeah.
Or, come on, let's head out. We're going to be late. It's the signal for departure.
I got it. Head to a destination, head out from your current location.
You've got it.
Now, the focus shifted a bit to connecting with family, especially kids, after the day is done. And there was some really interesting advice about asking questions. The usual, how was your day, doesn't always work, apparently.
Right. This is something many parents probably recognize. You ask these big, open-ended questions like, how was school? Or, what did you learn today? And you often get, well, not much.
Like the classic one-word answer, fine, or nothing.
Exactly. And the material suggested why this happens. It's often just too broad. Summarizing an entire day, especially for a child, is actually quite a complex cognitive task. And sometimes they just want to unwind, not give a full report.
That makes sense. So what was the recommended alternative?
The suggestion was quite insightful, I thought. It was to connect first, spend some relaxed quality time together doing something enjoyable before asking questions.
Ah, So connect before you interrogate.
Kind of. And then instead of the broad questions, ask really specific ones.
Like, give me some examples.
Like instead of, how was school?
Mhm.
Maybe, what was the funniest thing that happened at recess today? Or, did you play that tag game you like? Or, who did you sit with at lunch? Or even silly things like, did you dig any giant holes in the sandbox?
So drilling down into specific moments or activities.
Precisely. These specific questions act as memory prompts. They make it much easier for kids, and adults too, really, to recall details and then, crucially, to open up.
Open up, that phrase came up there. What does that really mean in this context?
To open up means to become more willing to talk about your feelings, your thoughts, maybe struggles or meaningful experiences. It's about sharing more than just the surface details.
So moving beyond fine or nothing.
Exactly. It implies a degree of vulnerability, of sharing your authentic self. And the idea is that spending that quality time first helps build the trust and comfort needed for someone to feel safe enough to open up.
That's a lovely concept. And the material had a good analogy, didn't it?
Yeah.
About casual greetings.
Yes. The example of someone asking, "How are you?" as you pass them quickly, most of us automatically say, "Good, you," or "pretty good," even if we're actually having a terrible day.
Because that's not the time or place to suddenly pour out your heart.
Right. You're not expected to open up in that brief, casual interaction. It highlights the difference between politeness and genuine sharing, which usually requires a different setting and relationship.
That really clarifies the meaning of open up. It's about deeper sharing when the time is right. Okay, let's talk more about that social time. The phrase hang out popped up again. We use it a lot, don't we?
We really do. It came up in the context of neighbors coming over to spending casual time together. As a verb, to hang out just means spending relaxed, unstructured time with people you enjoy being around.
So no specific agenda, just being together.
Exactly. We like to hang out on the porch, want to hang out this weekend. It's very informal and common.
And it can be a noun or adjective too, like a place.
Yes, you can talk about a hangout or a hangout spot. That's a location where people, maybe teenagers or groups of friends, habitually gather informally. The park is their main hangout. It's not a formal venue, just a comfortable place to be together.
Okay, now back to the family setting, specifically around dinner time. There was a mention of a specific conversational practice some families use.
Ah, yes. Asking two specific questions. What was the best part of your day? And what was the most challenging part of your day?
That seems like a structured way to encourage sharing.
It is. It gives everyone a turn, prompts reflection on both positives and negatives, and again, can gently encourage people to open up a bit more than a simple, "How was your day?" right? It structures the sharing.
And relating to the family group, the phrase as a family was explained.
Right. It's used to emphasize that the entire group is involved in a decision or activity. We decided to get a dog as a family, meaning everyone agreed it was a collective thing.
And you can use that structure for other groups too.
Absolutely. We need to clean the office as a team. The decision was made as a community. Or, importantly for couples, we need to spend some time together as a couple, meaning just the two of them, without the kids perhaps. It defines the scope of the group involved.
That's useful. And it links back to that idea of quality time, which we touched on, but maybe could explore a bit more. What defines quality time?
Well, the key thing is that it's not about the quantity of time necessarily, but the quality of the interaction. It's time where you're genuinely present and engaged with the other person.
So not just being physically in the same space.
Definitely not. It means putting away distractions like phones and really focusing on connecting. It could be having a meaningful conversation, playing a game together, going for a walk and talking, reading a book aloud, even just sitting together quietly but companionably. The focus is on the connection.
It's about presence and attention, really.
Precisely. Enjoying someone's company without a specific goal other than being together and connecting.
Okay, that's a great clarification. Now, moving towards the very end of the day, bedtime, especially for kids, the phrase, put the kids to bed. Standard enough, but there was a really important warning attached.
Yes, a very, very important one. This raises a critical question about word choice. How is put the kids to bed completely different from put someone to sleep?
And this difference is stark, to say the least.
Extremely. Put someone to sleep is the standard, gentle euphemism used when a veterinarian euthanizes a sick or old pet to end its suffering.
Oh, wow. Okay, so definitely not what you mean when talking about children.
Absolutely not. Using put the kids to sleep would sound very wrong, even alarming to a native speaker. The correct phrase is always put the kids to bed.
And put the kids to bed covers the whole routine.
Yes, it implies the whole process, helping them brush their teeth, change into pajamas, reading a story, singing a song, tucking them in, saying goodnight. It's the entire getting ready for sleep routine.
That's a vital distinction.
Yeah.
Really crucial for non-native speakers to know. Avoid put to sleep for humans.
Please do stick with put to bed.
Once they're finally tucked in, you might say something like sleep tight. Where does that come from?
It's a very common, warm way to wish someone a good night's sleep. It's actually a shortened version of an older, longer rhyme. Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite.
Ah, I've heard the bedbugs part.
Yeah, nowadays we mostly just use the sleep tight part. It simply means sleep well, have a restful sleep, very natural and friendly.
Okay, kids are asleep. Finally, what do the adults get? Downtime.
Yes, essential downtime. It's that period, maybe after the kids are in bed or after work, where you have time to relax, de-stress, and do nothing in particular. Or do something you enjoy purely for relaxation.
Time to recharge the batteries.
Exactly. No obligations, no pressure, just unwinding. And there is even a little tip about avoiding screens, like scrolling Instagram in bed, because it can interfere with sleep and isn't really restful downtime for your brain.
Good practical advice, too. And when you're finally ready to call it a night yourself, time to...
Time to hit the hay.
The hay. Sounds rustic. Does it involve farms?
Huh. No, not at all anymore. It's a very common informal idiom that just means go to bed or go to sleep.
You might say to your partner, right, I'm exhausted, I'm going to hit the hay.
Okay, so just an informal way to say go to bed. And if you have a really good night after hitting the hay,
You might say you slept like a log.
like a log, as in a piece of wood.
Exactly. It means you slept very deeply, very soundly, without moving much or waking up, just completely still and peaceful like a log lying on the forest floor. It signifies really good, uninterrupted sleep.
That sounds ideal. But what about the opposite, if you had a rough night?
Then you might say you tossed and turned.
Tossed and turned. That sounds restless. It is. It describes being unable to sleep well, moving around a lot in bed, maybe because you're uncomfortable or worried or your mind is racing. You just can't settle down and get peaceful sleep.
Okay, that paints a clear picture. And one last little expression from the daily routine section. Fingers crossed.
Ah, yes. Fingers crossed. This is both a physical gesture, crossing your index and middle fingers, and a phrase. It means you're hoping for good luck or a positive outcome for something.
So you'd say it when
You're hoping something specific will happen. I've got my exam results tomorrow, fingers crossed. Or thinking about the kids, fingers crossed they sleep all night tonight. It's just a common way to express hope.
Got it. Wow. Okay, that's a really comprehensive tour through the language of a typical day. So many useful bits there.
Absolutely. Mastering these kinds of everyday phrases really helps bridge the gap between textbook English and how people genuinely communicate.
Definitely. Now, let's switch gears from the daily grind to something a bit more exciting, vacations.
Yes. Talking about holidays, trips, travel, that's another huge area where specific vocabulary comes into play. The material we looked at included a story about a family summer vacation.
And they started with a road trip. What defines a road trip? Is any car journey a road trip?
Not necessarily. A road trip usually implies a long journey by car, often multi-day, where the driving and the stops along the way are a significant part of the experience itself, not just transportation from A to B.
Ah, so the journey is part of the fun, hopefully.
Ideally, yes. Think scenic routes, stopping at interesting places, maybe singing songs in the car. It's very much a cultural thing in large countries like the US or Australia, where driving long distances is common.
Makes sense. And on their road trip, they were going to meet up with family. We touched on meet up earlier.
We did. And here it reinforces that meaning, arranging to get together with people you already know, often at a specific time and place. They plan to connect with their family members as part of their trip.
So it implies an arrangement, not just bumping into them.
Usually, yes. Let's meet up for coffee at 10. You're making a plan.
Okay. And for accommodation, they didn't stay in a hotel. They rented a cabin.
Right. The verb rent is key here. You use it when you pay to use something temporarily that belongs to someone else. You can rent a house, rent an apartment, rent a cabin for vacation, rent a car, rent an RV for that road trip. Lots of possibilities.
So temporary use for payment. Got it.
Yep.
What do they do on vacation? Some outdoorsy stuff.
Yes, classic vacation activities. Hiking, which is walking in nature, often on trails in mountains or forests, and rock climbing, the more adventurous sport of ascending cliffs or rock faces.
Sounds energetic.
Yeah.
And in the evening?
They had a bonfire, which is basically a large controlled outdoor fire, often for socializing around in the evening, maybe for warmth or cooking, like roasting marshmallows.
Ah, marshmallows over the fire. A classic.
Isn't it just? Seems to be a common camping or cabin experience.
But being outdoors has its downsides. Bugs and sun. So protection is needed.
Absolutely. The essentials mentioned were bug spray, a repellent to keep insects away, and sunblock or sunscreen lotion to protect your skin from the sun.
And the consequences, if you forget.
Well, you end up with itchy bug bites, or worse, a painful red sunburn. Common vacation hazards.
Definitely experienced those. Now, they were having such a good time, they decided to
They decided to extend their vacation.
extend, meaning.
Simply to make it longer than originally planned. They added extra days to their trip because they were enjoying it so much.
Lucky them. And how did they manage that with things back home? Pets? The house?
Ah, a kind neighbor offered to watch their pets and house.
Okay, watch. We watch TV, but this is different.
Completely different meaning here. To watch someone's house means to keep an eye on it while they're away, maybe collect mail, water plants, make sure it looks lived in. To watch pets means to take care of them, feeding, walking, basic care.
So it's like babysitting, but for property or animals.
Exactly. It implies responsibility and care while the owner is absent. You could ask a friend, could you watch my cat while I'm away?
Got it. So on the extended trip, that phrase, hang out, came up again.
It did. Just reinforcing that it means spending that casual, relaxed time together, enjoying each other's company.
Okay. Now, for a bit of vacation drama, a minor mishap, getting stuck.
Yes. They apparently got stuck in an elevator at the zoo for a short time.
Stuck, meaning unable to move.
Precisely. To get stuck means to be trapped or unable to proceed. You can get physically stuck, like in an elevator or stuck in traffic or stuck in mud.
Can it be used non-physically too?
Oh, absolutely. You can feel mentally stuck on a problem or get stuck trying to remember a word when you're speaking. Your mind just freezes.
Ah, like language learners sometimes feel.
Exactly. And the material cleverly linked that elevator story back to language learning, hoping that understanding these phrases helps you, the listener, avoid getting mentally stuck when you want to express yourself in English.
This connection. What else happened on this eventful extended trip? Finding something out.
Yes, they found out the gender of a new baby expected in the family.
Find out, meaning discover or learn new information.
Correct. To find out means to learn something you didn't know before. It could be intentional, like doing research to find out information, or it could be discovering something unexpectedly, like finding out about a surprise party.
Okay. And some more fun activities, karaoke.
Yes. They rented a karaoke room. And someone apparently sang an improvised song.
Improvised, meaning.
Made up on the spot, created spontaneously without any prior planning or rehearsal, just inventing lyrics or melody right there and then.
Sounds brave. And this improvised song was
A crowd pleaser.
a crowd pleaser. That sounds good.
It is. A crowd pleaser is anything, a performance, a song, an event, even food that is very popular and enjoyed by almost everyone in the group or audience. It reliably makes people happy.
Got it. They also went to a wedding. And the ceremony was described in a funny way.
Yes, it was described as blessedly short.
Blessedly short. What does that imply?
It's a slightly humorous way of saying it was thankfully short or happily brief. It implies that perhaps long ceremonies can be tedious, so a short one was a relief, a blessing.
Okay. And the kids at the wedding?
The kids apparently had a blast dancing.
Had a blast. We hear that a lot. What's the feeling?
It's a really enthusiastic way to say they had an incredibly fun time, loads of fun, maximum enjoyment. We had a blast at the party. It conveys high energy and great enjoyment.
Great phrase. And a very unique wedding souvenir was mentioned.
Yes, they got a silhouette cut by an artist.
A silhouette. What is that exactly?
It's the dark outline or shape of a person or object seen against a lighter background. Often it's a profile portrait cut from black paper. The artist just looks at the person and cuts their profile shape. Quite a skill.
That does sound unique. And speaking of souvenirs, there's a funny little detail about the son's collection.
Oh, right. His favorite souvenirs weren't typical things, but rocks. Even rocks collected from a parking lot.
Just goes to show souvenirs are personal.
Indeed. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, or the rock collector, perhaps.
So looking back at the whole trip, the key takeaways were about connection.
Yes, the material emphasized that the vacation was great for family bonding and for spending quality time together.
Those concepts, again, bonding and quality time. meaning strengthening relationship.
Exactly. Deepening the connection, creating shared memories. And it even drew a parallel to the unexpected bonding some families experienced during the difficult times of the pandemic, when normal life was disrupted, but families were often together more.
An interesting observation. And finally, after the long drive home, the feeling
It was time to get back to the real world.
get back to the real world, the end of the fantasy.
Pretty much. It's a very common phrase used when a vacation or a special period ends, and you have to return to your normal routine, work, responsibilities. Real life resumes.
You might feel sad about it.
You might, oh, I'm not ready to get back to the real world yet. Or sometimes you might actually feel ready for routine again. Okay, it was great, but I'm kind of ready to get back to the real world. It captures that transition back to normalcy.
Wow, Liam, that was quite the journey through everyday English. From the moment the alarm goes off with first thing to hitting the hay, and then all the way through planning and enjoying a vacation.
It really covers a lot of ground, doesn't it, Lisa? We talked about waking up on the right or wrong side of the bed, the critical difference between drop and drop off, how to catch up on work versus catch up with friends.
The importance of asking specific questions to help people open up, the nuances of put to bed versus that other phrase.
Definitely don't mix those up.
Right. And then on to vacations, road trips, meeting up, renting things, using bug spray, getting stuck, having a blast. So many useful nuggets.
And hopefully understanding these phrases, really getting a feel for them, will significantly boost your confidence and fluency. It helps you think and speak more naturally, more like the English you hear around you.
So what's the big takeaway here? What does this all mean for you, our listeners?
Well, it means you've now got a toolkit, really, a collection of practical, common English expressions that you can, start weaving into your own conversations, maybe even just your internal monologues starting today.
Absolutely. The best way to make them stick is to use them. So we really encourage you, try them out, notice when you hear them, see if you can use first thing tomorrow morning, or talk about catching up with someone.
And to help with that, the material we base this deep dive on also comes with a helpful resource, a free PDF worksheet.
That's right. It lists all the key vocabulary, the phrasal verbs, the idioms we discussed, with definitions and examples. A great little cheat sheet.
And there's a challenge question at the end, too, just to get you thinking and applying what you've learned. You'll find the link to download that PDF in the description.
Definitely check that out. And think about vacations. Here's a question for you to ponder. Where did you last go on vacation? Or what did you do for your last break?
Yeah, think about it. How would you describe it using some of these phrases we talked about? Did you rent anything? Did you meet up with anyone? Did you have a blast? Did you get stuck anywhere? Hopefully not.
It's a great way to practice. Try telling the story to yourself, or even better, to a friend.
And if you're keen to take your everyday English even further, the source material also recommended another resource looking at how native speakers use simple verbs in surprisingly advanced and flexible ways in daily conversation. Worth exploring if you want to level up even more.
Fantastic. So lots of ways to keep learning and improving.
The main thing is realizing how much richness and nuance there is in this everyday language. Mastering it really opens doors to smoother communication and deeper connections.
Well said. It's been great diving into this with you, Lisa.
You too, Liam. Always fascinating to unpack the language we use every day.
And thank you, our listeners, for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it useful.
If you did enjoy it, please do consider liking this episode, sharing it with friends who might find it helpful, and subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into language and communication.
Your support really helps us keep creating this content. Until next time.
Bye for now.